What does it mean to love your enemies? Loving your enemies is one of Jesus' most demanding teachings. In a world that often promotes revenge and retribution, the call to love those who have wronged us seems radical. Yet, Jesus points out that love for enemies is the key to following God's perfection. Jesus said, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven." Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 44 and 45. Loving enemies means emulating God's love, which is unconditional and includes everyone, even those who turn away from Him. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Romans, "If your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink." Romans, chapter 12, verse 20. Loving enemies is not about feelings but a conscious choice to act for the good of others. Psychology suggests that forgiveness and love for those who have wronged us free us from anger, bitterness, and stress. It gives us the chance to regain inner peace and build healthy relationships. How can you practice love for your enemies? First, pray for them. Jesus said, "Pray for those who persecute you." Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 44. Praying for enemies opens our hearts to forgiveness and God's work in their lives. Second, forgive. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus says, "Forgive, and you will be forgiven." Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verse 37. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting the harm but freeing oneself from the burden of hatred. Third, act for their good. In the book of Proverbs, we read, "If your enemy is hungry, give him bread. If he is thirsty, give him water." Proverbs, chapter 25, verses 21 and 22. Love for enemies is expressed in practical acts of kindness. Fourth, remind yourself of God's love for you. In the letter to the Romans, Paul writes, "But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." Romans, chapter 5, verse 8. When we remember how God loved us despite our flaws, it's easier to show love to others. Fifth, emulate Christ. At the crucifixion, Jesus prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Gospel of Luke, chapter 23, verse 34. His example shows that love for enemies is possible even in the hardest situations. Loving enemies is a sign of our spiritual maturity and trust in God. As Paul says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Romans, chapter 12, verse 21. By choosing love, we become witnesses to God's grace and the transformative power of His love. Thank you for today. See you soon. Your friend sends warm greetings.